So Poppy, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, so it has been an incredibly turbulent day here at Westminster, with lots and lots of revelations coming out from government and lots of resignations as well, with letters being submitted by Tory MPs calling for a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister Theresa May, who is speaking at 10 Downing Street as we speak. She's basically reiterating her position on Brexit and calling and trying to rally some more support following these resignations. So I've been taking a look at how we got to this point, how Brexit's evolved, and getting some reaction from across Kent.
It's just as catastrophic potentially as I thought it probably would be for Kent, yeah.
Government is falling, with multiple ministers resigning, including the man supposed to be in charge of the whole Brexit deal, and widespread anger at the Prime Minister's plans. The next few days are critical in finding out the future of Kent.
I think because of the Port of Dover and because of all of the knock-on effects to tourism and trade and imports and exports and all of those things, they have a direct effect on us, apart from the social aspect as well, which is that we're next door to our European neighbours.
But how did we get to this point? On June the 23rd, 2016, a referendum was held to see whether the UK wanted to remain in the EU. The result? Well, 53% of people wanted to leave. The day after, Prime Minister David Cameron resigned. And fast forward to July the 13th, 2016, and Theresa May is announced as the new Prime Minister. Then last year, on March the 28th, Article 50 was formally triggered, officially starting the process of leaving the EU. And then until now, the road has been rocky, with debates and discussions and many disagreements, until we get to today, where we finally have the first look at what Brexit could mean for us. Well, what would change at Kent's borders? Well, not much straight away. The transition period will see no change to customs or border rules until 2021, and we can't even start negotiating what these changes will be until we've officially left the EU. But we spoke to the Freight Transport Association, who seemed quite positive about the proposals.
We think what we've seen of this so far, it looks very positive. I think the most important thing for us is that this deal avoids the cliff edge. The one day where this all happens and that suddenly there are massive amounts of checks at our borders. So we avoid that cliff edge, things will still be able to keep moving, the goods we all need will still be able to get through. And then above all, it gives us time to negotiate a proper full deal that will allow as frictionless as possible trade in the future. So to us, I think this looks very good.
With talk of a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister and few details about the effect of Brexit on Kent, it's all still a bit up in the air. This is Poppy Jeffrey for KMTV in Westminster. So there we have it, just a couple of the views we've been hearing all day. And it is quite a battle of camps, really. Quite a lot of people are saying, you know, she needs to go. We've got lots of people saying that the Brexit plans are not good enough, and lots of people who are backing them as well. But one person who doesn't sound like he is backing them is Raymond Chishti, who is the MP for Rainham and Gillingham, who earlier on today resigned his post and is the first Conservative Kent MP to have done something, made such a big action over his thoughts on the deal. However, we've also spoken to Helen Whately, the MP for Faversham and Mid Kent, who was much more positive and reiterated her support for Theresa May.
Yeah, I'm backing the Prime Minister. I mean, I haven't heard anyone else come up with a better plan. So there are people who have thrown stones at the plan the Prime Minister's come up with and oppose it, but they haven't got a different credible plan. So I mean, that's just not convincing to me.
Now, she's just obviously given her support to the Prime Minister, but if there's one person who is not giving their support to the Prime Minister, it's Nigel Farage, who has been heading up the whole Brexit movement since pretty much the start, as he was the chair, the leader of UKIP. So we caught up with him earlier today to get his thoughts on how he thinks Brexit is going and his latest plans.
We were about to sign something that meant we wouldn't get our fisheries back, we wouldn't get our independence back, and Kent, of course, that's been in the front line of all the independence battles for the last 1,000 years, most of which we've won. I just feel more optimistic. We might be nearer to getting a leader that supports what people in Kent voted for. Anybody that believes in Brexit, somebody off the street that believes in Brexit, would do a better job than Theresa May.
And we'll have more from Poppy later on in the programme. To get more reaction on this, I'm joined by Professor Tim Lockhurst from the University of Kent and our political editor, Paul Francis. Thanks for joining us. So we've heard a bit from Theresa May, a lot from Theresa May this evening, and particularly a press conference that's happening at the moment where she's defiantly sticking to her position on Brexit. Do you think that she'll still be PM tomorrow?
I think that she has been condemned to lead, because I cannot foresee anybody else wishing to take that job and being able to deliver a different Brexit deal if they were to take the job. Remember, even if there were a vote of confidence in Theresa May, she would only need to win by a majority of 1 in the Parliamentary Conservative Party to remain Prime Minister. I think she may be secure in her job for several more weeks, and perhaps she's been condemned to that fate.
And Paul, bringing it back to Kent, we heard just now from Helen Whately, but other MPs from Kent, particularly Conservative MPs, have been quite tight-lipped about this. What do you think this means?
They have. I think they've been trying to see which way the political wind is blowing by keeping a diplomatic silence. But we have 1 or 2 speak out. Charlie Elphicke, the Dover and Deal MP, said it was a deal he couldn't support because it broke the promises the party made in its election manifesto in 2017. And Helen Whately, as you see, they're generally supportive. Other MPs have not gone on Twitter in the way that you might expected them to have done so. So there has been a strange silence across the county's political scene.
Absolutely. And Tim, moving forward, what happens next?
Well, Theresa May is sticking to the plan that she presented to Parliament, which she agreed with her cabinet last night. And there's a good reason for that. The European Union is not going to offer an alternative deal. They're not going to offer her an alternative deal, and they're not going to offer an alternative Prime Minister a different deal. So these are the terms on which Britain can leave the European Union with an agreement. And Theresa May's position is, as she's just said in her press conference at Downing Street, that the British people are fed up with hearing about Brexit. They just want to get on with it. I wonder if that's the case. Certainly that's the case. She's going to push hard, and she's going to stick to her guns and try to get this through, because there is no alternative offer available.
And we're getting a little bit more detail about this withdrawal draft plan. Do we have any inkling as to what this might mean for Kent?
Well, if you had time to read through the 530 odd pages, you're a better person than I am. I've had a little look, and it's quite hard. It's buried in so much technical jargon. The only thing I came up against was some deal about bananas exporting from Latin America. So the document itself is fairly short in terms of what the direct impacts might be on Kent, but we all know the key problem, and that is, if there is no deal, the fear that Kent is going to get gridlocked.
Absolutely, a story that's continuing to bubble along. Thank you, both of you.